is March 19th. It is 6:04 p.m. We're in the Public Safety Building at 105 North 4th Street in Gunner. All notices were properly posted according to Chapter 551 of Texas Government Code. We do have a quorum with everyone in attendance. We will open up with our invocation and our pledge of allegiance. Captain Kramer, could you lead us?
Sure. I'll make sure my green light is on, or not. There we go. Just ask you to bow your heads with me. Father, we come before you today just thankful for the amazing weather you provided for us and the safety you provide for us each and every day. Father, we ask that you watch over this entire meeting, each and every decision that we make, that will be focused on you, bring glory to you, and you would just help us to have the wisdom to be focused on the things you desire us to be focused on. Father, we ask you to watch over our public safety and first responders, and certainly over our troops throughout this very difficult time, that you will help us to be wise and confident and secure in your desires for us as individuals and as a nation, Father. We pray these things in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We'll open up with citizen comments. Teacher, do you have any citizen comments? Okay. Then we will move on to our agenda items. Is there anyone who wanted to speak on an agenda item that did not sign up? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move to number 2. So, Director of Parks and Students report, please, Adam Adams. Do you have updates for us?
Sure. All right. Good evening, Council, Mayor. Let's see. Broken Bow. We have our pre-con next Tuesday, the 24th at 2:30, and I believe I've spoken with Mr. Linderman, and I think somebody from the Woods will also be at that meeting. No problem there. So, because that'll just help communications. So, and really, I think once we have the pre-con, I would imagine we'll be up and running within a week. That's what I would hope. Trash services went well this week with bulk pickup, going smooth, recycling. Residents were using brown paper bags, which limits weight to the 40-pound limit. The only thing I will say that we are encountering that will be something we have to deal with this upcoming week is we have about 110 people, even though we've called them and reached out to them, that have not paid their trash bill yet. We're going to have to explore some options. So just, it's good y'all have a heads up, I believe. The other thing that's a priority this week is Autry repairs. I don't know if y'all have heard from anybody. So I've tagged all the doors in Autry. So last week, I believe it was Thursday, I had a resident reach out to me showing pictures of a hole that you really don't see. It's by the side of the road on Autry Boulevard where the creek is. Well, I saw the hole and immediately went out there. And that is a sinkhole, and it's on one side of the street and it's on the other side of the street. And there is light coming between the two holes. So we T-posted that off, and that same day I had both city engineer out there and a contractor. So they're working up a solution for that. Just to let you know what's happened is the culvert has pulled away at the bottom, the creek side from the head wall. It's not that big, but it's big enough that the water has gone over the culvert, and what it's doing is it's pulling the dirt out from under the road and spitting it out every time it rains into the other side of the creek. So what we've done is we've narrowed the lanes down to one lane. We've dropped in, and I talked with the engineer about it to make sure they were on board with it. We've spanned that particular area with steel panels, and so we've turned it into a one-lane egress and ingress right there. We put a sign there as well and lowered the speed limit to 10 miles an hour. So that is a high priority to get that done. That will be something that obviously is not a budgeted repair, but it has to be done. We are exploring a couple options as to how that's done. We're meeting next week with TNP. I believe it's next Thursday. And Don will be there, Eric, myself, City Administrator Danny, and that will be the end of the first phase of the drainage project, and we'll be talking about alternatives and the starting of phase 2. Phase 2 after that phase is when you'll be seeing us come back with reports. That's alternatives and potentially some cost projections based on the phase 1 study. The other thing is we are gathering some bids. I'm going to do a hot patch overlay here on 121 and 4th Street that's always covered with water. And so with a fire truck going over there, I think I'll create a turn radius as well, so it'll probably help Hickman Automotive just a little bit, which I think he'll appreciate. So that's something we're doing as well. We'll be resuming potholing now that warm weather is upon us. And the last thing is Eric. Eric is one of the things we've been trying to do is talk to BNSF, because where the train trestles cross, the railroad has a right-of-way, and they have a certain apron they maintain across their trestle. So Eric is talking to somebody. I think it will evolve into a conversation because we want to do some maintenance on either sides, especially on Cedars, on Reed. There's some pretty nasty little spots that we just need to address, and we just need we're going to need the okay of the BNSF to work on those spots. And I don't think there'll be an issue, but that's all I have at the moment.
Adam, real quickly.
Sure.
What's the status on the meadows and their retention pond?
I reached out again to Jenny after we talked. I reached out to her again, and I don't know if there's maybe a little confusion on her part. She came back with me with asking for a task order for the drainage study that originally council said no on. So I think she's confused. So I reached back out to her again and said, no, it's not the drainage study. You're right. That's been shelved. I need somebody to examine the mechanism in the meadows. What we're trying to determine is if that mechanism is performing as designed. So that was a day or two ago that I reached back out. Tuesday? Yeah, it was Tuesday I reached out to her. So hopefully she'll turn right back around and say, because that's what I'm trying to get. And we've discussed it before. So I am.
When you say flow by design, is it like they were supposed to? It was not supposed to be an actual retention pond. It was supposed
it's supposed to detain. It's supposed to detain, and then when the water level hits a certain point, it releases at that point.
Yeah.
I will just say, from a staff standpoint, I don't think any of us have seen it detain water.
No, because there's a big hole.
And that would tell us. I mean, I want a professional look at it from an engineering, from those specs, because it was approved, and just give me the verdict it wasn't, and then immediately look for solutions for that particular problem.
Okay.
But it is in process. I thought you might ask that tonight, but yes,
Yeah.
we are definitely on top of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Eric.
I took the city manager there today to show him that. City administrator.
My stuff isn't exciting as Adams and washing out culverts and stuff, but I just want to give a personal shout out really to Jessie, who's stepped in to help on my department's behalf. She came in, started with fire code type stuff, and has gotten other certifications to do our code services and our stray animals and things like that. But for me, she's really stepped in and helping with the permits, because we have everything from someone coming in saying, hey, I want to do an accessory building, clear down to multi-million-dollar developments going in right now with retaining walls and infrastructure and those types of things, and all the permits in between. And then I'm not real good at MyGov. I know it's shocking. I look like a techie guy, but I'm not. So we've been working, and Bethany was starting on this, but Jessie came in and has just really gone after it to try to get our processes more in order and make sure that we're tracking things right, and that the interface between us and Atlas and BV still to some extent is there. And I just can't say enough how amazing she is on helping us with every type of issue that we have. I mean, she's just a gunner on that stuff. With Atlas, speaking of Atlas, they're really kicked up. I had a meeting with Lee today. I had meetings with him in person probably once every 2 weeks, but we talk a lot. They're going out to project sites even when there are not necessarily inspections called in, and driving around and looking and seeing what's going on. We don't do the sewer and water, but he knows to kind of like look over their shoulder, just kind of glance and see if anything sticks out to him. He was out of Bridges 2B or 1B today, and the infrastructure's going in. He says he hasn't seen that good of storm sewer infrastructure and head wall type stuff from any contractor that he's ever seen putting it in. So it sounds like Centurion American has some pretty good contractors working on that. We're doing a lot of retaining walls on the preserve right now. The sewer and water infrastructure is going in that development right now too, and then soon, probably in the next month or so, they'll start doing the street pavement interior wise for it as well. Platinum Ranch, they had an early grading permit. We're still reviewing their civil plans for the 2 phases for pods 1B, 1A, and 1C, which is further to basically the northwest corner of Platinum Ranch. And if you drive along Grayson Parkway, you can see it. You can see the earth moving out there just like you can if you know where to look for Taylor Ranch, aka Palmer Lakes. So there's earthwork and things going on both of those. We get a lot of interest right now, commercial interest. So I kind of put on my MDD hat sometimes when people come in. We met with a very interesting group out of Chicago that we hope within the next month or so we can describe that to you and present that, have them come a little bit further. It's kind of like almost like a non-disclosure thing right now, but they kind of ran it by us just to kind of see conceptually what the city would think about it. Pretty exciting, cool concept for commercial mixed-use type stuff. And then we get brokers that call us all the time that have connections with retail commercial people, including grocery stores, asking us about different land or what is Gunner looking for? I'm like, what, did you drive through Prosper and Frisco and Salina? Okay, kind of that, only better if you can. So it kind of helps talking to those brokers when they're kind of kicking the tires or filling out, but everybody knows Gunner's the next frontier, right? So they're wanting to kind of see what opportunities are, and they have the direct contacts with those retailers and commercial people. So we don't have to spend time going out to like ICSC or something like that marketing Gunner. Gunner's everyone's self-marketing. So we're working with MDD to try to harness that energy from some of those brokers and whatnot, have them come or bring some of those retail people. The challenging part is they ask, what do we have as rooftops? And right now, Grayson County is going through a demographic assessment with some consultants that we do. I'm on as y'all put me on the Transportation Advisory Committee on the NPO. Mm-hmm. And as part of that meeting Wednesday morning, they were talking about that demographic study that they're doing. And there's a website that I'm going to give you all the link to that you could go make comments on, because they want to know certain residential developments that are there, commercial employment, and then you go in and see if the data that they have on this interactive map is what you think to be accurate or correct, because all they have to go off of is the 2023 census type stuff, and that's not always really what's on the ground. So they want input, as much other outside on the ground input as they can get to see the accuracy of their data. They're also working with the school districts. They haven't gotten any information from Gunner ISD yet, and they know that Gunner ISD is also working on a demographic study as well. So that's why they haven't gotten it. But I'll mention that the NPO is asking for that information from them. I talked to Dr. Enos about it and their consultant, because I provided them our housing stock counts and our projection type things for Gunner proper, but I've also mentioned, hey, you need to get with Melissa at the county and understand we have a lot going on, rooftops that are going to impact Gunner ISD, but also Grayson County that feels like Gunner, but it's really still in the city, like some of the MUDs and those types of things. I mean, there's still 200 rooftops, there's still rooftops that should count towards what we're trying to press, and I tell the commercial people this too. We have stuff out there that I'm not specifically familiar with, but the ones I do, I let them know about it. And I'm trying to get kind of a map consolidated together to present to y'all, but have for them as well of where our developments are going, I have, but having those like Grayson Crossing on JC Maples and just the other random ones, and then some of the larger acreage, 1 and 2 acre developments that are going out in the ETJ and the county as well. Those are still rooftops that matter, trying to get an exhibit together and for that kind of stuff. So, and of course, everybody knows that I think everybody knows that we had the BNSF groundbreaking. Been working with them right now to get their submittals together for zoning and platting. So CG and I are he's gonna get that into MyGov. He worked with Jesse today on how to upload it to MyGov, and I'm gonna go over to their offices tomorrow, BNSF, since it's not too far from where my house, and pick up the hard copies of stuff. So probably next month, P&Z will be seeing the zoning change, and then y'all will see the zoning change, and then we'll do the preliminary plat. And I'm gonna talk to legal counsel to see if there's a way I can double up some of that stuff and conditionally approve the preliminary plat after zoning, because it hadn't quite gone to city council yet. And if I can't, then BNSF knows I have to run it in a sequence, one-off basic stuff. So, any questions?
I do.
What's up?
If the TAC is trying to get the count of how many homes, why are they not going to the CAD? Every single property is identified in the tax roll.
I don't know. They can.
I'll ask. The MPO is April 1st, so I'll make a note to do that.
Yeah.
That just seems like a good way to find
That's
out
one,
what
I'm
it is
sure,
right
and they
now.
probably are. I mean, I kind of glaze over when they're talking about the study that they're doing or whatever, because it's kind of, I don't know, technical or whatever, but.
It's a good source to utilize.
So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to put together an exhibit to show, because there are a lot of developments out there that are already entitled that are now looking to want to start developing. Either the owner that's had them for several years, or they're thinking about selling it to someone. You know, there's people talking about buying Preston 1. I don't know if we've ever heard that they've really moved on purchasing that property, but it's been on the market evidently. So.
All right, thank you. Yes. Do we have a gunner fire and rescue report, Captain Gale?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I passed out a monthly report for Gunner Volunteer Fire Rescue earlier. Obviously, it highlights 23 calls this month, which is a unusually lower number for us. And the percentages there that you see is more of a 50-50 split between fire and EMS. Traditionally, we're more of a 70-30 type of organization, which is pretty consistent with this area. So good for us as a community to have some less EMS type calls there. Obviously, we talked about the radios last meeting. We've had some personnel graduate from EMT school, so that's all in the right order actually 3 now. And so we're trying to add as many folks in that category as we can to really diversify our capabilities as an organization, and that's been going well. And then we talked about, I heard there was an amazing report last month provided by Eric. No? Yes?
It was articulated.
Articulated, it was well articulated, right? But in terms of training, we did acquire a $10,000 grant for training props that we're working to identify exactly how we want to modify the training structure out back, and then get some props in here for that. So that's the main focus for us.
Can I go off topic just for a second?
Absolutely.
When you mentioned out back, there's a hole in the side of the storage. What is that for? I meant to ask you.
That's the beginning, a window. That's the beginning of a window. Specifically for that window, it's referred to as a Denver training prop window. It's set for a specific size based on some previously learned incident criteria where they couldn't save a firefighter, and it's being built to that specific spec. You might know what I'm talking about.
Also going to do code compliance performance report too?
Yeah, absolutely. Do what?
You want me to do it?
No, I heard you did so well that I should just let you do it, right?
I try to live up to it, buddy.
Really, this is really where Eric and the entire group, as you mentioned Jesse earlier, really gets to tag team a lot of what we're doing. There's many years in municipal government where you've seen this referred to as code enforcement. We're taking a very diversified approach to this to really try and help people to be compliant in the different things that we're doing, and that's why you see some of the nomenclature on there. Obviously, as you mentioned, Jesse's doing a great job. We're working very diligently with folks to help them understand the criteria and help them work through that anywhere from, like we were talking about earlier, the stagnant water to signs to different data sets on how you can park and that type of stuff. So that's part of what you see highlighted here. One other focus area that we talked about earlier, I think, is just the technology. We're trying to really work our technology right now. Today, there are still some permits that folks request that they do via paper. And so we're really trying to maximize the use of the technology we have available to us to really expedite those processes, makes it easier for us to track on the back end, requires less staff hours, and a more efficient process for those requesting permits. And that's where a lot of our energy is going right now to really expedite some of the technology we have available. Any questions on code stuff?
Thank you, Captain. Under Mayor Alderman reports, I only have one thing, but then I would like to have our new city administrator maybe give us an update. It's something that Danny has.
Sure.
We are going to have our audit meeting Tuesday at 5 o'clock, right before MDD, so that we can go over our audit and accept it. We'll meet the statutory deadline. And very, very excited that the first 2 weeks are coming to a close with Danny, our city administrator. It's been amazing. I'm sure it feels like drinking from a fire hose. We've dragged him everywhere and meeting people, and he's got more people to meet and more things to do. I know, council passed by that whiteboard back in his office now. I'm out of there, and it's all his. Just look at it. You'll see he's working hard. So Danny, I'll let you kind of
Sure.
introduce what you've been doing and
Okay.
talk a little bit about that.
Started off, I met with all the staff, I guess first morning here, and just sit down, talk to them, find out what they do, what I can help with, and get to know them a little bit better. And the common question I asked each of them was, what do you like working? Why do you like working here? What is it that makes this a great place to work? Without a doubt, every single one of them said it's the people we work with. I mean, it's not the benefits, it's not the money, it's not the privileges, stuff like that. We enjoy working with our people. So I'm very privileged to be part of a team like that, because that tells me that you have some good people with the right heart and mind in place to solve some of the issues that have been coming our way. And I'm excited to be aboard on that. I think that's a great opportunity for our people. And we do have a good team here. It's evident. We are probably going to lock horns sometimes, but that's all right. That's what we're supposed to do. And it will be for the betterment of the town and for us to meet some of the challenges that we have coming at us. That was the main thing, getting to know them that first couple day or so. The next thing we did, we started diving into some budget numbers and trying to understand some of the things that I'm familiar with, and to get to know kind of the Texas way of doing things, and that's good. And that's going well. We got the audit report. I'm diving into it and really doing a deep dive on some of the things I see there. So that's taken up quite a bit of my time there. I've hung out with Eric and Cameron a little bit, which I learned not to hang out with them. No, just it's been, and Adam, we rode around today. Adam said, well, let's go here. And then, we need to get back. And next thing I know, we're going to another place. So Adam was showing me a lot of the things that he had on his plate, particularly the sinkhole we talked about. And, that's the type of stuff I enjoy learning about, getting there at the site, see what's going on, see what we can do. And, it's just like everything else. You have issues that come up and it's going to cost money, but he's doing a good job on that. But like I said, we've got a great team here so far, what I've seen, and I'm very privileged to be part of that. My door's open. People come in, talk to me. There may be a few times I have to close it if I'm in the middle of numbers or something. I just feel like I need to close it and kind of get my mind straight. But I thank you for the privilege, and I look forward to working with you and the council. I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And council, thank you, because it's been a weight off my shoulders.
Good.
We'll move on to number 7, the consent agenda.
One thing I'd like to say.
Okay.
Clarification there. Woke up early one morning and I was on social media. Of course, this whole trash subject has been going on for the last few months. So I sat down and wrote. So a lot of you guys know that whenever there's a project for the city that I typically will take it on, just like the air monitor, and took on the trash. Once the mayor and Dietrich had brought it to our attention that we were losing was $464 a month, basically $5,000 a year of taxpayer money being paid for the trash service that we were never receiving the funds for Mustang 4. So once that came up, I basically took on the responsibility of getting it put out for bid. We put together a committee, basically Eric, Adam, William, myself, and Karen on a limited basis. And I will take the responsibility for what I've been seeing on Facebook, that taking on the trash and approving Alfred was a decision made by William and myself. It had nothing to do with the mayor. I've seen a lot of slanderous things blaming all of the problems with the trash on her when she had nothing to do with it, honestly. William and I decided to go with Alfred because they were local. They've been involved in the community. They donate their trash cans every year for the 4th of July. And the previous service, they sponsored $300 the year before and never paid out. And so there was just a lot of variables. So if there's any discomfort or complaints about the trash service and who's to blame, I'll take it squarely on my shoulders.
I'll jump in here too on that. I've been involved in a transition of trash service. We went from a major national hauler to more of a local one. And in working with it through the contract and everything, you run into hiccups. It happens. And, you know, unfortunately, the public, you know, we hear it from you first. And I understand that piece of it as well. But we are trying to resolve those issues as quickly as they come up. And it's good to know that if we do have an issue, you know, let us know so that we can resolve it so that you have the service that you need. And we learn there's communication issues that we have to do better at and be better at. But there are hiccups anytime you change a program like that. And it for the most part, the service is there. We're going to get better at it. Alfred will be working with us as well to make it better.
Yeah, based on the history of what happened, basically when the water was sold, the trash went with it to Mustang. Yeah. They just didn't want to deal with it, so off it went. And anytime there was a price increase based on CPI, we were not involved in it or was informed. So we were collecting less money than what we were having to pay. And had we not gone through and renegotiated this contract, trash bills would have been $25 a month, where we were able to negotiate it down to 20, and we would be losing $6,000 a year. And how long can we possibly do that? So,
Well, thank you.
That's incredibly unexpected, and thank you for pointing that out, because it is hard to watch, you know, people say that they want to dump their trash in my yard.
William and I had, what, 5 or 6 different companies to go through.
I can add just a little bit.
So
I don't really want to add to anything,
Oh, I
but
know.
it's a positive. Yeah, it all staff, Deetra, Rosa, myself, and Jamie have been involved in this. It's time consuming, but it's a good process. The other thing you didn't mention, Alan, is we also really moved into, from an additional customer service and obviously revenue source would be the commercial industrial, which we didn't pick up any of that.
No, this is pretty
So
much
we got nothing from that before.
pretty much the only city service that we have is trash.
Yeah.
So,
We've been talking about this since TML October a year ago.
yeah.
The Houston TML, when they talked about trash. And then I was complaining that we're paying out more than we're getting back because we had to pay Republic, and then Mustang collected and paid us back. I'm like, what is the deal? Every month we are paying more out than we're getting back from them. So something's wrong with billing, something's wrong somewhere. We looked at the contract, we knew that it was coming up this year, and so we started working on it a year in advance. And I mean, in the long term, this is going to be better for the city. It's our service. We should be handling our own service and not put that in the hands of someone else where we have no control. So I appreciate you saying that, though, Alan.
Yeah.
Because Alfred actually gave us the opportunity in the contract to handle the commercial. Republic would not,
Exactly.
that was not even, they wouldn't
Yes.
negotiate that at all.
Hopefully we all ended up with a better deal, even though it is a heartache
We will.
or a transition that is uncomfortable.
Okay, so let's move to number 7, the consent agenda. A, B, and C, and D, it's all the meeting minutes from the prior meetings. We do this on every third Thursday, not every meeting, but the third Thursday we always do the previous meeting minutes, and the financial report, police department report, and the MDD report.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agendas of A through D.
I'll second.
Jerry with the first, Pat with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. We'll move on to a regular agenda, discuss, consider, and act upon an interlocal agreement between Grayson County and the city of Gunner for the culvert replacement on Burke Road. I think we've mentioned this before, Adam, but did you want to maybe just kind of overview
Sure.
the summary?
Um,
See if you have questions.
It's just, so So council's already seen this before. It was in the budget, Burke Road, from last year, so it was already a budgeted item. But the last culvert, which is the culvert nearest Van Alstine as you're heading east, that culvert was not in there. And so, like, I did meet Commissioner Marr out there. We definitely had an issue where the road had basically partially caved in there enough that, you know, at night if somebody hit one of those edges, they would go down into a pretty deep hole. So he gave us, in my opinion, an extremely fair price. So we extended the culvert. We made the culvert about 20 feet longer and repaired it. And so it's great. I really appreciate he's very proactive in that area. So that's been very helpful.
Need to figure out how to buy two and get one free from them.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the interlocal agreement with Grayson County for the IOA for Berkeley.
No second.
Jerry with the first, Alan with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. We will move on to council business executive session. One, under consultation with attorney, we are doing the individual employment contract negotiations. And then under, again, consultation with our attorney, we will discuss the BNSF case and the water case, BNSF CD 241241 for the record, and then water case CD 261060 for the record. We are not doing B.
That was an accident.
That was a duplicate. I thought it was Eric's. He probably thought it was mine, and we've already done this, so there's nothing new going on. We're not even going to talk about that because we did it last meeting. So that is it, and we will convene into executive session at 6:36. Yeah. Yes.